The call came at 6:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus Thornton was pulling into his driveway, still in his work clothes, humming along to the radio like any other ordinary evening. His phone lit up, Priya's name on the screen. He almost let it ring. Almost. Marcus. Her voice cracked like broken glass. "It's Maya. You need to get to the Shell station on Route 9. Now. Marcus, please hurry." He didn't remember driving there. He only remembered the yellow tape and the white sheet. Before we go any further, if stories like this shake something deep inside you, make sure you subscribe right now. Because what Marcus did the very next evening. 25 men showed up on one police officer's quiet street in broad daylight, and nothing in Beaumont, Texas would ever be the same again. It had started the way it always starts. Small, ordinary, invisible to everyone except the person it was happening to. Dr. Maya Thornton, pediatric nurse, mother of 2, the woman every child at Beaumont General asked for by name, had been driving home from her evening shift. The roads were quiet. The sky was burning orange the way Texas skies do when the sun takes its time saying goodbye. She was on the phone with her best friend Priya, laughing about something silly one of the toddlers had done in the ward that afternoon. Then blue and red lights filled her mirror. She felt the familiar tightening in her chest. The kind black women in America learn to feel before they can even put a name to it. She signaled carefully, pulled into the Shell station on Route 9, and placed both hands on the steering wheel before the officer even reached her door. Officer Derek Saunders had been with the Beaumont PD for 11 years. 11 years of complaints that went nowhere. 11 years of a badge that worked like a shield nobody could pierce. He didn't ask for her license. He didn't explain the stop. He leaned into her window with the energy of a man who had already made a decision before he even got out of his cruiser. "Step out. Now." "Officer, my name is Dr. Maya Thornton. I work at Beaumont General. I just want to understand why." I said step out of the vehicle. Priya heard everything. She stayed silent on the line, her hands shaking, her brain telling her to keep the call open, keep it recording, keep it alive. Maya stepped out slowly, hands raised, movements careful and deliberate, the way you move when you know the whole world is a trigger and you're trying not to be the reason it fires. It didn't matter. Saunders grabbed her arm. She stumbled, said, "I'm not resisting." Clearly, calmly, the way you say something when you need a record of the truth. He shoved her shoulder. She caught herself on the car door. Then he drew his weapon. 3 shots split the warm Texas evening like thunder without a storm. Maya Thornton fell on the concrete outside a gas station she'd driven past 1,000 times. The nozzles kept pumping gas. A little boy at the window of a passing car pressed his face to the glass. Priya screamed her name through the phone, screaming into silence. Marcus arrived 14 minutes later. He knew before he got out of the car. Fathers know. Husbands know. Army Rangers who have seen death up close in 3 different countries know. He walked past a yellow tape with the quiet authority of a man that officers instinctively stepped aside for until one of them finally grabbed his arm. The paramedic shook his head. Marcus stood still for a very long time. Later, at home, he found Maya's nursing bag by the door. Inside, beneath her stethoscope and her patient notes, was a sealed envelope. Her handwriting on the front, neat, calm, certain. "If something happens to me, start with the property records." Marcus sat at the kitchen table for 1 hour. Then he picked up his phone and typed a single message to one contact. "Victor, come." He pressed send. 25 men began to move. They didn't come at night. That was the first thing that made people stop and stay. No masks, no darkness, no hiding behind shadows the way guilty people do. They came at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday evening, when the Texas sun was still high and mean and exposing everything it touched. They came in regular clothes, pressed shirts, clean trousers, quiet shoes. They came in pays, from different directions, parking blocks away and walking in like men who had nowhere better to be. By 5:15 p.m., 25 former Army Rangers, Delta Force veterans who had operated in 4 countries across 2 decades, stood positioned on the public sidewalk surrounding Officer Derek Saunders' house on Clover Lane, Beaumont, Texas. And they just stood there, still, silent, watchful, like the earth itself had sent them. Victor Okafor reached Marcus first. Built like a man carved from patience and iron, Victor had served alongside Marcus for 9 years. He didn't hug him, didn't offer empty words. He simply looked at Marcus and said, "What do you need?" "I need Saunders to feel what it's like," Marcus said quietly, "to be watched and know there's nothing you can do about it." Victor pulled out his phone, sent one message to a group of 24 men. 5 p.m. Clover Lane. Civilian clothes. Full visibility. Sandra Pitts was watering her front garden when they began arriving. She lowered her hose slowly, watching pair after pair of broad-shouldered men take positions along the street with the quiet precision of a machine nobody had switched off. She pulled out her phone and hit live stream without even thinking about it. "They are here," she said softly to her growing audience. "Lord have mercy, they are here." Inside his house, Derek Saunders saw them through his blinds. His coffee mug slipped from his fingers. He called his union rep, then his sergeant, then the chief, his voice climbing high with each call. "You need to get people down here. This is harassment. This is intimidation. These people have no right." Nobody told him that standing on a public sidewalk is not a crime. Nobody needed to. By 5:40 p.m., Beaumont PD cruisers arrived. Then more. Then a command vehicle. Chief Raymond Foss stepped out, straightening his uniform for the cameras already lining the street. Reporter Calvin Reese from Channel 7 was already live, his voice barely containing what his eyes were seeing. 25 men. Business casual. Not a weapon in sight. Standing in perfect formation around a police officer's home in broad daylight. "I have been covering this city for 16 years, and I have never seen anything like this." The police tried everything. Officers bumped shoulders with the Rangers, whispering threats. The Rangers didn't blink. A provocateur in plain clothes came charging at Victor Okafor, screaming and swinging. Victor sidestepped him like water moving around a rock, caught his arm mid-swing, and guided him face first onto the warm pavement with the bald efficiency of a man swatting a fly. He released him immediately and returned to his position without a word. The whole thing took 4 seconds. 40 phones caught every millisecond. Then Chief Foss made a decision that would destroy him. He ordered the riot line forward. Shields locked, batons ready, the heavy boots of armored officers scraping against Beaumont asphalt. The Rangers didn't run. They moved, fluidly, intelligently, the way men move when their bodies have been trained to think faster than fear. Officers who swung batons found their own momentum turned against them, guided gently but irresistibly into cars and curbs. Shields became useless in the hands of men who suddenly couldn't remember which direction was forward. Not a single Ranger threw a punch. Not one reached for anything that wasn't already in the air being aimed at him. It looked, on camera, less like a fight and more like a tutorial. They are not even hurting them, Calvin Reese said live on air, his voice barely a whisper. They are just neutralizing them. Then Derek Saunders blew it. He threw open his front door, face red and sweat-soaked, and screamed at a police line from his porch. "What are you waiting for? Finish it. That's what we do. We finish people like her before they can talk." The street went cemetery quiet. Every camera swiveled toward that porch. Every phone locked onto his face. His words hung in the humid Texas air like smoke-thick, visible, impossible to take back. People like her, before they can talk. Sandra Pitt's live stream counter hit 47,000 viewers in the next 90 seconds. Victor Okafor looked at Marcus. Marcus looked back. Something passed between them, not triumph, not rage. Something quieter and more permanent than either. It was the sound of a trap closing, because Maya Thornton had known this moment might come. And 3 weeks before that Tuesday evening, she had prepared for it. Maya Thornton had always said the same thing at the dinner table when her kids asked why she kept so many files. "Baby, sunlight doesn't need permission to expose the truth. It just needs a window." She had built the window herself. At exactly 6 p.m. that Wednesday, 24 hours after Marcus sent that single text, phones across Beaumont, Texas began vibrating at the same time. News desks, federal court systems, the FBI's public corruption inbox, 3 separate journalism networks, all of them receiving the same encrypted package, automatically triggered by a dead man switch Maya had programmed 3 weeks before she died. Inside that package lived 18 months of careful, quiet, devastating work. property record showing a coordinated scheme targeting black homeowners in Beaumont's Southside neighborhoods. Families pressured out of generational homes through false code violations, suspicious tax disputes, and, there it was, targeted traffic stops designed to intimidate witnesses who were getting too close to the truth. Maya had been scheduled to meet with federal housing investigators the following Thursday. She never made it, but her files did. Calvin Reese was still live on Clover Lane when his producer screamed into his earpiece, "Calvin, check your phone. Check your phone right now." He looked down, read for 10 seconds, looked back at his camera with the expression of a man who has just realized he is standing in the middle of history. "We are receiving unconfirmed reports," he said slowly, "that a federal evidence package has just been filed simultaneously in 3 jurisdictions, containing what appears to be direct proof linking Officer Derek Saunders to a coordinated conspiracy against black property owners, and connecting Maya Thornton's death directly to her role as a witness." Then the audio dropped. Maya's own voice, recorded during her final phone call with Priya, played across every major broadcast in Beaumont simultaneously. "Officer, my hands are up. I am not resisting. My name is Dr. Maya Thornton, and I am." 3 shots. Then silence. Then Saunders' voice from his porch, recorded just 2 hours ago. "That's what we do. We finish people like her before they can talk." Side by side. Same voice. Same man. 24 hours apart. No lawyer on earth could build a wall tall enough to hide behind that. The federal vehicles arrived at Clover Lane at 6:23 p.m. Not Beaumont PD cruisers. Not Chief Foss's familiar command truck. These were different. Darker, quieter, moving with the unhurried confidence of authority that doesn't need to perform. Derek Saunders opened his front door with his chest out, clearly expecting local backup. What he got instead were FBI credentials and a federal arrest warrant. Derek Saunders. Civil rights violations. Conspiracy. Witness intimidation resulting in death. He ran 3 steps toward his back door before 2 agents caught him like he was standing still. When they walked him out in handcuffs, his face had collapsed completely. All that practiced arrogance dissolved into something small and ordinary and afraid. Across town, Chief Raymond Foss was arrested at his favorite restaurant, fork still in his hand. 3 city officials were picked up before nightfall. A property developer who had profited from the South Side scheme was walked out of his downtown office building in front of his entire staff. DA Claudia Mercer stood before cameras that evening, her voice iron steady. Maya Thornton did not just die at a gas station. She was silenced because she was about to expose a criminal enterprise operating inside the city's own systems of power. Today, that enterprise ends, and her evidence, her wake, her courage, will be what puts every single one of them away. 3 weeks later, Marcus Thornton stood at the corner of Route 9 and Elm Street as the sun began its slow Texas descent. A bronze memorial plaque had been fixed to the wall of the Shell station, polished and permanent, catching the last golden light of the evening. Dr. Maya Thornton, nurse, mother, truth teller. She spoke up so others wouldn't have to stay silent. Justice walks in daylight. Marcus placed his hand flat against the warm metal. Close his eyes. Breathe. Down the street, Sandra Pitts was teaching her daughter how to use a camera properly. Priya had started a legal fund in Maya's name, already helping 4 Southside families fight back against predatory developers. Calvin Reese had published 6 more investigative pieces, each one pulling another thread from the same rotten fabric. And Victor Okafor had sent one final message to the group of 25. Standing down. Mission complete. She would be proud. Marcus read it twice. Then he looked up at the sky, wide and orange and completely, beautifully open. No shadows left to hide in. No darkness left to protect the wrong people. Just light, everywhere, honest and relentless and free. If this story moves something inside you, drop a comment right now. Just say Maya, and let the world know you were here. You read this, and you refuse to look away. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button because the next story will hit even harder than this one. Don't let it catch you off guard. Maya Thornton deserved better. So does the next person. Stay watching. Stay witnessing. Stay loud.